And here we are again with day 5 of writing the sequel to The Glass Witch. Of course, obviously, I can't start my day without letting BG out, and since the boyfriend is actually working in the office this week, that means I can't work in my office, because who's going to babysit the little boy otherwise? He's out of his cage pretty much all day, so someone's got to be out to watch him and make sure he doesn't get into bullshit. I also got to defrost some meat for dinner tonight, because tonight I am making something a little labor intensive, but still very delicious, and that is stuffed cabbage. I got a recipe for that on my blog if you want to check it out. My boyfriend, being Ukrainian, calls it holubtsi, but I, being Slovenian, call it sarma. And of course, I also gotta feed BG and feed him first. Did you know that pigeons, and honestly most birds, are social animals? So when they see you eating, they want to be able to eat too, because it's kind of like a bonding activity. I know pigeons don't really get sad, but the idea of me eating first and him looking for food breaks my heart, so I feed him first. And speaking of recipes, this banana bread that I posted yesterday, 10 out of 10, definitely gotta try it. But after breakfast, after BG, after doing my morning tarot, finally, I am ready to write. All while little BG loafs on me all morning, but oh my god, I am half an hour late to my usual 9 to 12. Which means it's time to write anything that'll get me to 1500 words, and that means I'm skipping chapters a bit, writing something I know reliably I can get down on the page. But, as is the writer way, somehow me writing about a log cabin character ends up with me just watching 20 minutes of this man's log cabin content. Although, man, am I impressed with how this guy could just put log cabins together and make them look really nice inside. But finally, by like 12:07, we did it. We hit the word count for the day. And honestly wrote a pretty good start to a chapter. BG helped me celebrate and also left me a little present. And now here's where this becomes a bit of a what I eat in a day. You saw my breakfast, so you might as well see my lunch and the results of my dinner as well. This is just a wrap with some spices on it, and not shown today was also like a little Greek yogurt ice cream bar. But simple lunch, nice and easy. And I was able to enjoy that by myself while I was watching a little bit of YouTube, taking a good solid break because, you gotta have a solid transition between tasks. You can't just go from one thing to the next like I used to think I could do. I had a lot of other things on my to-do list today, though, that I ended up shoving to the side, mainly so that I could accomplish one very exciting task for me, which is scripting some really interesting stuff coming up for Patreon. And then after that was putting together cabbage rolls, and finally pulling them out of the oven at 8 o'clock. So I count that as a very successful day, and I hope you guys join me for another day in the life tomorrow. Now wait a minute though, because you might be wondering what exactly is this book, and that book is The Glass Witch. Here's the back so you can get the gist of what the plot's about, but it's an enemies to lovers high fantasy that deals with themes of nationalism, of finding oneself between two cultures, all that. A little bit of eco-terrorism too, considering we're centering on 4 seasons. I aim for this to be a 3-book series, and right now we are writing the second book, which of course is its own journey. But support an indie author and grab it on either Amazon or my website. Alright, days 6 and 7 are combined because my god, both of these days ended up being some seriously disaster days. Tuesday started with packing some books, some Where the Gods Left Off, love packing these up, and then we couldn't let BG out because I had to go to the gym with Mom. Going to the gym in the morning is pretty much a surefire way to make sure I don't get started with work like any earlier than 12 o'clock. On the bright side, it's done and it's out of my way, and that's great. On the downside, it turns everything into a chore-tastic errand day. But with the books deposited, the gym gymmed, and the kitchen actually clean for once, it was time to eat some leftovers for lunch and enjoy some good YouTube. But seriously though, when it comes to gym in the morning, this is what I'm talking about. By the time I actually got done in here, it was 1 in the afternoon. Finally got settled with some music and was ready to go, wrote a pretty good amount of stuff, but then of course, let's count all the things that get in a writer's way when writing. Thing number 1, B-Lock, just on principle of his being alive. Thing number 2, computer deciding to update out of nowhere. Thing 3, B-Lock again, getting into places he's not supposed to be. Somehow, though, eventually, we did make it. We got to the end within 3 hours and, with minimal issues. But then we went for a walk in which my oregano and my lemon balm are already coming back, which is nice. But once again, my next day of writing starts much the same as the other one, with packing books. And I really can't, emphasize how satisfying it is to just be able to pack all these books for y'all. It just makes my day. But somehow I was out of the house later than I was on Tuesday, so the day was quickly spiraling. Very, very quickly spiraling.
Okay, you think your day was bad?
It's a fuck-ass day, Stewie. It's a fuck-ass day. And then with more snafus with errands afterwards, I'm surprised we even got to the gym at all, to be honest. But we got there, and we did one hell of a high-intensity workout, and then finally, I was ready to redo my money bowl that I've been putting off doing this entire time. I know you're supposed to do it on the 1st, but the 1st was during a waning moon. Why? No. I waited for a Thursday during the waxing moon because that just made more sense and also gave me like a whole 14 days to procrastinate. Also, I mean, the start of my month was pretty good. This is a little bit for that mid-month kind of, pick-me-up. And while I don't throw these things out every single month, every like quarter or so, I do try to redo it. Fill everything anew in that money bowl. And Belok was very enamored with the cinnamon bottle. But eventually, finally, we managed to sit down for the last bit of tarot and then get into the actual writing. And here's God calling me out for pretty much creating my own problems. But you know what? That's fine. Even if I couldn't get everything done I wanted today, I got some of the most important stuff done, which is the writing, and figured out how to arrange my schedule for the rest of the week. I could keep going, I could keep working, but Christ almighty, I am tired, and I would really just like a moment because I've been working a lot more than I expected to on what is technically spring break. So I'm going to enjoy a beautiful evening, and I hope you all do too. Nonetheless, thank God, here it is, another at least 1,500 words done. Oh boy, here we go again for the last day of week 2. It's not a day started unless BG is out of the cage. And since this is a Friday during Lent, of course, to prepare for dinner, we don't have any meat on the menu, we've got spimp. If you guys check out my blog, I have a sausage and pepper recipe that I end up just kind of switching the sausage for shrimp during Lent, and it works really well. But of course, we start off our day with some taro and some belog, and also some tarot for the client orders that have come in from Where the Gods Left Off. If you haven't gotten a copy of that, I definitely suggest you do. I do a dice roll and also a tarot card pull for every order of Where the Gods Left Off that comes from my website. So if you get it on my website, be it ebook or as a paperback, you do indeed get this with it. And here's something I haven't done in a little while, which is another interview for the second book of Where the Gods Left Off, in which BG was relegated to the cage because he's a menace. And then finally, we were back to the writing. Now I'm at the point where like all of my go with the flow, kind of feel out the story, general inspiration is worn off, so my brain was dead today. However, I was not about to go trying to figure it out on a Friday, so off to copy paste from my old draft it is. Bang, look at that. Suddenly, I've doubled my word count. I did know I wanted that scene, and I just kind of wanted to fit it in there as well as smooth together all the other changes I made, so I did actually end up writing like 500 new words as well. But it also meant I finished a lot earlier, which means time to handle the house, because oh my god. Belok took a bath too once I was done, but you know how it is when you don't have a dishwasher. You don't do dishes for like 2 days, it's like you didn't do them for a month. But with Belog freshly washed and snuggled on the blanket, it was time to take care of another task that I am not going to have the patience for this weekend, which is rearranging the decor. As a witch, 4 times a year do I decorate the house, just to keep the seasons together, which means it is Christmas in this house from like December to March. But now, with spring here, we can actually open up the demon altar again, which is pretty fun. During the wintertime, this becomes the god altar space while the tree is up, but now we have 2 altars in the house again, one to God, one to all of the infernals. And this is a good one because it's on top of the bar cart, so it's like a solid workspace / drinking zone. And then here we have the guest altar for God, which is very full of all kinds of wonderful things, including all of these Ukrainian Easter eggs that my boyfriend's family gave us. And then with all that said and done, it was time to actually get started on dinner. I had to run to the store for peppers and like some onions and stuff, but otherwise, dang. It came out good. It was very good. And here we are at the end of a very, very successful week.